Well, welcome to This Week in the Lab, and we have got a load of stuff this week, much to the dismay of my wife. I'm sure that I'm dragging a bunch of stuff home, but it's all good stuff for the club. Some of this we'll take to the shop, so it won't be here at my house in the lab. We'll start with, made our run to the Home Depot again. I use this paint a lot. I've started actually painting on some canvas with some of this stuff, and we got 4 different colors of paint, a white, kind of a grayish white color, which leaked in the bag actually and got all over a lot of stuff. Kind of taught me a lesson, I guess, to not get so much of this. But I think this one's kind of a greenish color and a couple of browns. 50 cents a piece. I'll buy that all day. Same way with this stain. This is a weatherproofing stain and sealer all in one. I've got 3 different ones of those. It looks like a cappuccino, Chatham fog, and russet. So once again, 50 cents. I'll buy those all day to have here at the lab to do projects. Flea market scores this week. Got this cool little reamer countersink deal. I've not seen one like this. It actually has a 1/2-inch drive. On the top you could put a ratchet on this, a ratchet in the socket, and run that, or a tap handle would run this really nice. Made in USA. Doesn't have a brand on it that I've found, but I haven't cleaned the rust off. This handle is fixed. It's a fixed position, but I've not seen one like this. It's sharp, but I'm sure this will do nicely in the end of a pipe, or a hole we've cut that we need to countersink or deburr. That'll do great. This cool little straight peen hammer. The only problem, I got this for $3, I think it was. And the only problem I've seen is it's a little mismade. As you can see, the handle sits crooked, and I didn't look at it too good when I got it. I thought the handle was just bad, but the hole through the head is actually in crooked, so I'm gonna have to put this in the milling machine and try to straighten this hole up. But it's a made in USA, Evansville Tool Works stamped on it. Made in USA. It's gonna be a good hammer once I straighten that hole up, so that'll be of some use. And $1 for these nice coaxial crimps. These are Thomas and Betts company, made in USA. Got these for $1 out of a bin, and they work good. I've crimped a couple ends on coaxial with them, and they work pretty good. So that was well worth $1. And a buddy of mine was at his shop, and he's been cleaning some stuff out, and he always gives me a little goodie bag when I'm up there, so to speak. And he had ordered, this is PVC stock, and he needed about 2 inches of this, and the shortest run his supplier would do, I think, was 5 feet. So he cut these in 1 foot lengths and gave me and a couple more buddies that do projects a foot each of this, just to get it out of the shop. He knew he was never going to use this material, so that's a good score. Something brand new stock we can make something out of. Gave me this is a 6-inch sign bar, and it just needs minor cleaning. This is shop made. He didn't make it, but someone did a really nice job on this. It's all precision ground. It's got their initials RHP in it. But this is going to be a real nice addition to the shop. We're going to take this to the shop, and we can set up precision angles. I've got a set of gauge blocks that we can set up precision angles with this and do some nice layout work. That's a real nice tool there. It's just in remarkable shape, and he just gave that to me, so I thank him for that. The last thing he gave me was this roll of bandsaw blade, and this is cut to a length, and we don't have a blade welder, but what we're going to do is we'll skive the ends, cut them at an angle, and silver solder them together. We can use this on our bandsaw. It's good blade. It's brand new. It's Nicholson brand. This will be real nice. So to my buddy Dale, thanks for these 3 things. We'll go. We got a little bit this week going on in the shop. We'll film, and we'll end up with our weekly club meeting in the lab. So we'll just get to that right now. Alright, today we're going to pour these molds. You saw last week on This Week in the Lab I made the silicone molds. Today we're going to pour the plastic in on the resin. Now what I've done, I've put the mold back on this board that I can level. And I'm leveling, even though we poured this on the board as level, this thing should have, the top and bottom should be on the same plane. When I level this time, I'm actually leveling on the silicone mold itself, just to make sure. And I've put this mold in the microwave for about a minute to heat it up. It'll help with the process of setting with the resin. There's no undercuts in this particular mold, so I'm not going to have to use any mold release. Now, as always, the key is to stay very clean when you're doing this. Keep your area clean, keep your labware clean. Everything should be really clean so you don't get anything in your plastic that you don't want. And normally I use the little mixing cups that have the graduations on them, so I can just do it in one, but I seem to be out of those, so I'm going to use this as my fallback just in case I don't have that available. So what I'm going to do is mix up, it's about 15 milliliters of that side. This side you have to shake pretty good. The plastic I'm using, the resin, is from Alumilite. There's a lot of companies out there that make this, but I started using Alumilite and I've kind of got used to it, and I like it pretty good. So that's just what I've always used. But I'm not by any means endorsing that or saying that that's the best. It's just what I use. I'm going to put this in this cup. I'll reuse that one, but I don't want to use that sticking here because it'll start setting up and it'll be harder to clean out my labware here if plastic's actually setting up in it. This cup I'm pouring into is just going to be disposable for a mix. I'll leave that aside. You want to mix this thoroughly. Make sure the catalyst is mixed in with the resin really good. So you'll have complete curing and consistent curing of the resin. Should be pretty good. Now we just want to pour slowly and start at kind of a corner and let it flow in. And this is a single part mold, so I'm just pouring right up to the top edge. Same way with this one. Let it flow around all the recesses and stuff, right up to the top edge. And as you can see, those little pieces sticking up are where a screw goes through. These are shelf supports for an antique refrigerator. Now this particular plastic takes about 5 minutes. And that's a thermoset plastic, a resin. So we'll come back when this is cured. I'll pop these out of the mold and show you what they look like. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes. You can see the plastic's hardened. Slowly work out, and there's our piece. See, it's nice and smooth. We'll have to paint this. These are supposed to be white, and we got to pour a few more of these. Basically, these go in the side of the fridge. It's like a 1940 General Electric refrigerator. These go on either side, and the shelf slides in on there. Some in the front, some in the back. But it's as simple as that. We'll sand the back real smooth. The screw goes through the middle to hold it on. And we just got to pour a few more of these to finish out the job. But that's as simple as it is. Now if we had undercuts in this mold, we would use a mold release to help assist in getting it out. But this mold, there's no undercuts. Everything's straight in. Actually, if there was a lot of undercuts, I'd be using a different kind of silicone too. This is a good durable silicone for molds like this with no undercuts, but I have a more pliable silicone I use for stuff with extreme undercuts. But anyway, that's plastic pouring right there. It's pretty simple and easy. Alright, so last week we started making this Piranha Plant thing. and I used a tennis ball. And if you refer back to last week's This Week in the Lab, we cut this on a bandsaw, and then I put it in a container full of red RIT dye, trying to dye it red. And what we're trying to emulate is this Piranha Plant. This is like the new version of the Piranha Plant. I think it's probably the newest version out there. And we made this tube, and the tennis ball is about perfect, because this one's actually looks almost too big to go in, but we actually are going to have this go in, hopefully, if we can get this done, and pop out and do its thing. So it has to fit in here, and this is about right. Problem with this is when we dyed it red, this is a synthetic material, it just didn't take good. And I left this in for days. Just didn't take the red, it didn't come out near the right color, and this rubbery stuff didn't dye, so this was just kind of an epic failure. The other thing was, this looks a lot like the old version of the Piranha Plant, the shape of it, but we want to capture this newer version here. So I'm going to start over, I think, with this and cut a V, more of a pronounced V in here instead of this style. And I was gonna use a racquetball and paint it, get rid of this fuzz, but the racquetball just is too small for this pipe, and this pipe turned out so good. I'm gonna try my best to keep this. And as far our other thing we're gonna try is the lips on the Piranha Plant. I think we're gonna use some of this vinyl tubing and split it, hopefully, and make the lips out of that and paint it. But we're going to see if that works. But to start with, I'm going to redo this. This just didn't turn out good, and I don't know what I'm going to do about the color. We might just actually soak this in, just work red paint into this fuzz and see what that turns out looking like, because it definitely needs to be a different red. But our Home Depot paint is a somewhat close match, at least, to what my printer can do. So we're going to go over to our crate of tennis balls. Doesn't everybody have a crate of tennis balls in your lab? Or are we the only one? Well, we have a crate of tennis balls, and I'm guessing there's a tennis court not far from my house and from the local recycling center, and I'm guessing that someone who actually knows what they're doing playing tennis took these to the dump, because I'm sure they're worn out to a real tennis player. Maybe they've lost their bounce or rubberiness or whatever. I'm assuming that's why you would find this many tennis balls at the recycling center, because that's where we found them. Nevertheless, we have a crate of tennis balls, so we have enough of these at our disposal to throw that one out and start over with a fresh one. So we'll do that now. Alright, last time I just made a slice right down the middle and left a little bit on the bottom so it would, when you would squeeze it, it would move. This time I think I'm going to do a more pronounced V. I'll see if I can get it cut even, and that'll give us a somewhat open mouth to start with, and even more when we get into it. And I'm hoping I'm steady enough to cut this, make a cut, move, make a cut without getting off. Let's see. Because the way this sphere moves when you squeeze it, we're getting this roundedness here. So we actually need to do a negative cut to get it. A negative cut here will actually flatten out when it flexes. Right now it looks kind of like a flower opening up. We need it more of a straight cut. So we're going to come back and do a concave cut here. And I think I'm just going to do that with some snips or scissors or something. And we'll see. This one's an experiment. Like I said, we have that whole crate of tennis balls, so we can throw this one out too if we mess it up. As long as we don't mess up 50 of them, we're good. This seems to be working pretty good. You see, I've done this concave cut, and when you squeeze it now, see how straight that is versus this rounded, this convex here. It's all geometry, folks. And when we put these lips on it, it'll flex a little bit different. You won't even see this cut when it's open. But I think instead of having it sort of midway up and then trying to open it, I think we're actually going to cut this a little bigger to have it in this position and have something pull through the bottom to actually close it maybe. We've just got to experiment with that a little and see how that works. I'm just going to trim it on out and see what it looks like, and we're going to go from there. We still got the issue of what we're going to do with getting it red, but we will persevere.
So what are you doing, Tommy? Teeth for your piranha plant. Alright.
And here's your safety glasses, Tommy.
Alright. See what that looks like.
Well, we've got to figure out what we're going to do for a stem and these leaves. Big thing with these leaves is they're going to have to retract when we pull them down in and be like springy back out, I think. And from this picture, it looks, these are holly leaves, and they kind of, I think these are probably, whoever created this plant modeled these maybe after holly leaves because they have that kind of carnivorous look to them. Problem with these, with holly leaves, is obviously they're very sharp, and a child could touch this. This is going to be at a child's birthday party, and we would have to, I'd have to rehydrate these. You can see they're real brittle. So we're going to go and in our supplies and find something that we can either make look like this and curve, or something that actually looks like this off the shelf. So I'm going to go over here. We're going to go to the bins, mark the fake plants. What, you don't have a fake plants bin? You should get one. Now, save everything, people. You never know what you're going to be making. Save everything. got a good assortment. That might be something we could potentially cut and use. Someone's trying to get away from us. A lot of these are aquarium plants. These little guys, just to tell you kind of stuff we save and see. These guys came out of, I think, like a little Army Men pack. Just fake floral plants here that we've got. Looks like stuff from the dollar store. I think we're gonna attempt. These aren't bad, and these aren't bad. We've just got to scallop these edges somehow if we're gonna make them look more like the holly leaf. This is just what we have in house. I might go out to the store tomorrow and see if there's anything cheap, but these look like our prime candidates for tonight if we're going to experiment with it.